Britain is a member of what's called the UN Refugee Convention. It's an outdated convention that we joined in 1954, over 70 years ago, before commercial jet aircraft, before the internet, before mobile phones, completely outdated for another world. And this convention legalises, it makes lawful any traffic, any entry, providing you're doing it to claim asylum. So if you sneak in the back of a bus, or if you cross the channel in a dinghy and you claim that it's for asylum, then it legalises that. And it makes you what's called irregular. And that's completely ridiculous because it's illegal entry. It's what would otherwise be illegal entry.
Exactly.
And people who enter illegal should go to prison. So what we need to do is we need to leave the UN Refugee Convention. We need to set up our own British asylum programme which declares that if you enter in the back of a lorry or if you enter in a dinghy, then you're breaking our law of entry and you're going to prison. And believe me, that would stop the traffic in a matter of hours, and you wouldn't have to send very many people to prison, you wouldn't have to do it for very long, but that would stop the traffic, that would break the business model of the gangs. And as for the so-called persecution that the Scottish Cabbage Party claim, most of these young men are not being persecuted, because if they were, where are the women and children that they've left behind? You know, we in the British cultural tradition, we have a phrase, women and children first. And that means that if you're in a state of despair, you put the women and children first, you save them first. That's the British cultural tradition. But it seems like the cultural tradition of many of these people in the dinghy is men first, men only, women and children last, if we even bother to think about them at all. So folks, we need to leave the UN Refugee Convention, we need to set up our own, and we need to make sure that anybody crossing the channel in a dinghy goes straight to prison. That's the answer. We've always had that answer. That's what we should have been doing since 2018. That's what we are going to do. If we can ensure that next year at the Holyrood elections on the 7th of May, next year, we do not vote for the soggy Greens. We do not vote for the Scottish Cabbage Party, otherwise known as the Scottish Greens. We do not vote for any politician of the SNP, Labour, Lib Dems or Conservatives who will not stand up and say, that's the answer. They have to go. The illegals have to go to prison if they break our law of entry. We have to get our politicians saying that. If our politicians will not say that, when we cannot vote for them, we cannot be turkeys voting for Christmas every 5 years. We have to vote for people who will say, we're leaving the UN Refugee Convention. We are setting up our own system which decrees that if you cross the channel in a dinghy, you go to prison. And folks, we can do this. It's just a matter of changing the conversation. And your soggy Greens over there don't want you to hear the simple solution to this problem. And hopefully in a couple of years when we've done that, when we've got politicians in power, then these asylum things will be just in the past. And there's other things we need to do as well. We need to ensure that you only get welfare if you're a British citizen. Absolutely ridiculous that you can get the benefits of our taxpayers' money without being a British citizen. The next thing we have to do is to make British citizenship very difficult to get. At the moment, you can become a British citizen after 6 years. We need to change that to at least 25 years, if at all. Then another thing we need to do is only British citizens should get the vote. We have a situation in Scotland where you can get the vote if you are legally resident here. Okay, so if you're a student on a student visa, if you are only here for a short time or whatever, you can vote. That's absolutely ridiculous. Only British citizens should have the vote. And it was your Scottish Greens over there who brought in that law in 2020. Shame on them for changing the law in that way. Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Maggie, you stinking
So we have to get back to British democracy. British democracy for the British citizens. So these are just some things that we can do, but we can do it, folks, and you know what? We can do it perfectly fairly. We can do it perfectly legally. We can do it perfectly properly. Nobody needs to get hurt. I actually wrote the book on it. It's called Protect Our Country. I'm gonna leave a book with our man Connor, our absolute hero Connor. And really, quite frankly, thank you so much to this man, because so much of this often depends just on one person. And folks, you have a hero. You have a hero in Connor, and all those who help him, and all of you who turn out today. Well done for you all coming out, standing up. Standing up for standing up for Falkirk, standing up for Scotland, standing up for our great British nation. I just want to say, at this Christmas season, let's give a prayer for hope, a prayer that we can raise up politicians who will stand by the Scottish people, and not politicians who are more interested in their globalist fantasies. And we can do that if we use our vote next year accurately and only vote for people who will say these sorts of things. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you all. God bless Connor, and God bless Falkirk, and God bless the United Kingdom. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you very much.